On the air, but back on the air. And welcome to the Dr. Cloud Show. It's been a while since I have been here with you doing one of these. For those of you who have been around a while, we started this during COVID when everybody was like, lockdown, what do we do? Well, we started this daily show, and how much fun was that? I mean, I got to talk to you guys, and we just laughed and we cried and we did a bunch of stuff, right? And then COVID ended. I had to go back to work in on the outside world, and we kind of stopped for a while. And I have really missed it. I've missed talking to you guys, and so we're going to be ramping this back up in some form or fashion. And the perfect is the enemy of the good. And I said, well, we don't know exactly what we want to do, and we need to figure out the studio and the setting and the cadence and all the times. I said, okay, fine, but let's just do one on Wednesday and get started. And maybe we can just do it that way. So here we are. Forgive us as we are learning with you. For those of you who've seen the way we normally do it, and for those of you who are new, welcome. We have fun on the show. We talk about some hard stuff, some fun stuff. To orient the new listeners, if you don't know me, I'm a psychologist by training. And, if you think about the pie of life, we have clinical issues, depression, anxiety, addictions, energy level, stress. Oh no, I'm feeling crummy. This person's freaking me out. Or joy and happiness and all the things we want to get to. That's one piece of the pie. The other piece is relationships, work, family, extended family, in-laws, siblings, adult siblings, children, the neighbor next door, Aunt Sally, whoever it is that might be making life not so fun for you. And also some happy stories if you want to share those. And then the third piece of the pie is your performance. How do we reach goals? How do you find your talents and bring them to fruition? And all of that kind of stuff. We were meant to perform in life. And whether that's in a hobby, an avocation, a calling, a career, starting a business, that's an area that I hang out a lot in the performance arena. And all of that, I think the whole pie, sometimes because, as some of you know, I've written a bunch of books that integrate faith into life and all of those issues. Some people say, well, where's the spiritual piece of the pie? There ain't one. There's not one. The whole pie is spiritual. In other words, our spiritual well-being affects how we feel and function. It affects all of our relationships. It affects our performance. And deeper than that, our spiritual health in any one of those pieces affects the other pieces. If you're depressed or anxious, your relationships are going to be affected. If your relationships are crummy, you're going to be depressed or anxious or worse. And then a lot of times we can't perform at work or wherever because we have a difficult boss and the relationship is affecting it. And if we're not spiritually grounded, people are hard to deal with. So anyway, that's what we talk about here. But this is a call-in show. Remember that. Here's the number. Better rush. 844-940-2774. 844-940-2774. Write that down. A lot of times other callers will prompt a question that you have, even if you don't want to call in right now. 844-940-2774. I'm going to have to text my team and ask them a question. I'm about to do a giveaway here. Hang on. I'm going to surprise you guys here. I'm not going to tell you any of the rules yet until I ask my buddy Greg here what you're going to win if you win the prize, which is coming up. 844-940. There will be one person who wins this. Or maybe who knows, but one person that we know, we don't know who it is. Guess what the first caller on the air is going to get? The first caller on the revamping of the show, a lifetime membership to boundaries.me. Lifetime membership if you were the first caller that gets on the air. We don't even sell that anymore. It got to Yeah, it's complicated anyway, but we're going to give you one if you are the first caller who gets on the air. And I want to tell you a little bit, if you don't know what that means, boundaries.me, go to that website. It's a platform. Think Netflix. Netflix, you have genres. You have mysteries and action films and rom-coms and all of that. And you have a lot of different movies in all of those categories. Well, boundaries.me is a big platform like that we have taken several years here to build, which has genres, your relationships, your stress, your anxiety, dealing with toxic people, dealing with narcissists, how to reach your goals, your marriage, parenting, all of these categories. And there are short form courses, short stuff, 15, 20 minutes, some of them are a little longer, on all those topics. Over 100 courses on boundaries.me to help you in your life. It was a long time dream of mine to be able to do all that, and we did it. The team got together and they pulled it off. And in addition, the lifetime membership, I think, or the premium, or one of them, that includes a separate category called workshops. And on the workshops, those are extended 2-hour plus seminars, webinars that we have done. Sorry about that. You should turn all your beepers off before you go on the air. Webinars on lots of topics, from healing your emotional wounds to marriage to communication, dealing with toxic people. You have to go look at them. There's a ton of them. All of that's included in, I think it's either the Prime, I think it's the Prime membership, excuse me, or boundaries.me plus, I think it's called. Anyway, first caller on the air is going to get that. And the rest of you, we got a big holiday sale going on. Boundaries.me plus, let me read this to you. I don't even, what? Are you kidding me? The regular price for boundaries.me plus, which is the whole banana, is $600. I mean, it's like over 100 courses and all the webinars and some other stuff. $249 holiday sale. Can't believe that. Anyway, if I didn't already have access, I would do it. So it's a good gift to give to your adult kids, maybe, or friends, or small group to do studies with. Anyway, check it out. Go to boundaries.me and look into plus. Okay. Every day on this show, when we were doing it daily, and I used to have a syndicated radio show. I was part of a show called New Life Live. We were on 200 stations daily, and we always struggled. Do you do a topic for the day and people call that topic, or you do open calls? And I never found the right answer. I don't think there's a right answer. So here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to give you a topic and then I'm going to talk about a little bit in the beginning here, just a few points. And then we're going to open up to open calls. And if you want to call about that topic, you can, or you can call about other things that I deal with. The topic is, let's just call it holiday blues. And what do I mean by that? Well, the holiday is supposed to be a great time, right? And there's a lot that goes on the holidays that brings a lot of cheer and a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, a lot of fulfillment. I mean, think about it. It's a time of giving. How excited do you get to see somebody you love open up the gift that you gave them? I mean, it's nothing better than the giving part of Christmas. And then how much fun is it to get a gift? That's pretty good too, depending on who buys it. I mean, I appreciate the gesture, but I don't need a set of knitting needles, but thank you. But there's some other things I could tell you. Anyway, giving is a big part of that. And also, the meaning of Christmas. Christmas is about faith, and it's about the whole big day that the universe changed when God came to earth. That's a lot of meaning, ton of meaning. And also the meaning next that you get in your significant relationships. So Christmas should be a big bundle of happiness and joy, unless we live in an imperfect world, which, by the way, look outside. or look at your desk and see if it's cluttered. We live in an imperfect world. And that means that even giving can hurt. People give with strings and manipulation. People guilt into giving. People give out of guilt. And then even sometimes we can be struggling in our faith around Christmas. Or you get into the relational arena of Christmas where you're going to be around some people that are very difficult, maybe even some people that have hurt you significantly. And you got to go to a holiday gathering, and there he is, or there she is, sibling, uncle, aunt, grandfather, grandmother, mother-in-law, mother, father, friends. It can be hard, or those networks can kind of ruin the holiday season in some ways. And then sometimes in the performance, we don't get it all done, or you didn't reach the goals you wanted that year, and you look at the end of the year and get kind of depressed. There's a million reasons why the holidays, and particularly, part of happiness is the kind of what's between the gap of how we dream of wanting something to be and how it really is. And that gap, the feeling of holidays ought to be great, and yet here I am. That gap adds to the feeling that wasn't so good about where I am already. And there's a grieving sometimes. So it's just some things to think about. A couple of areas that I want to talk about this. I love, and Tori and I do this all the time for all the holidays or trips or whatever. We start with a vision. And we say, what do we want this holiday season to look like? And at the end of it, how do we want to look back and say, that was awesome? We spent time doing the things we want to do. We spent time with the people we want to spend with. We avoided the spoilers. It was awesome. Okay. But that vision takes a plan. So let me give you a couple of areas where a plan gets its feet on the ground. And that's basically organizing your time and your energy. So you got X amount of time. How are you going to organize that time? And that time, those windows are where you're going to put your emotional, intellectual, all of your energy, your heart, mind, soul, and strength. So if we're not organizing those times to block in the priority things first, and know on this day and this day, or, this week, I want to be with these people or not those people. And then also the boundaries, guarding those times of, there's some people that I need to avoid if it's drastically bad, or you're trying to build a deeper relationship with somebody else. It's just ordering it according to your mission and your vision. If you don't, the holiday season is like a rapid river that's just going to take you down somewhere on a tributary, and you're going to look back and say, we missed it. Or this season, I wanted to spend time with, and we never did that. Or I didn't even enjoy Christmas Eve day because I was driving around trying to get 15 things done the last minute. One of the things that we did, we started a number of years ago, and we altered it a couple of times, but it kind of became a family tradition. People take vacations at different times, right? And Tori and I were sitting around one day, call it December 15th, and it's like it wasn't any fun. It's like too much activity, and got to do this and got to do this. And Christmas is supposed to be fun. And everybody was harried and hurried. And so what we did was say, you know what? Let's just unplug. Let's go to New York City and watch everybody else be frantically hurried. There's nothing more relaxing than watching other people go nuts when you're not, and see the sights. And so let's go there for a few days and hang out, enjoy the decorations, enjoy all of that, and protect that time and save for it. We budgeted for it. And it was awesome. But it takes planning. And so whatever that means to you, think about that, because I want to talk to you. January second, third, or fourth, or sometime in there. And I want you to tell me it was awesome because we did all the great things and we avoided the pain. One more thing in there. Sometimes, and this is for good reason. Sometimes family gatherings or whatever, you really do want to be there, but to be there means Uncle Joey's going to be there, or critical Aunt Sally, or whoever your grandmother saying, "When are you going to have kids?" or whatever it is. And it helps to prepare for those conversations. One is have a wingman. Get your sister to always be next to you when you go talk to Aunt Sally or grandma or whoever it is. Another thing is get a script ready. If they start talking about something or criticize or whatever, have it already in your head what you're going to say. You know what? That's a topic I don't want to go into. It's the holidays, so I'm going to go get some punch, whatever you drink at holidays. Just something. Okay. Prepare, 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 prepare. All righty. We are going to hop in. So, Greg, is this our winner? Let me ask you. Is this the winner? Let's see. Greg, are you there? We're not taking calls yet. I just have somebody up on the screen, but I actually need I need to figure out how to turn this thing off. I'm sorry, guys. Um, how do you do this? They changed the operating system. Have you guys noticed that? The operating system has changed, and now I don't know how. There we go. I think I did. Okay. Hey, I tell you, we were just starting the show, right? I'm learning as we go. We're not taking calls just yet, which means I get to talk to you a little more. Um, let me give you a little bit of, I don't want to go into this deeply, but we can use one part of it now, because I want to do something a little later about the new year. Um, New Year's resolutions are by and large a fail. Um, they're a great idea because the turning of a page, it has been shown by research actually to start something new and have a specific event around it actually ups the percentages of when people accomplish something. That's a research fact. But that doesn't mean just because it's up doesn't mean it's up, right? It doesn't mean everybody pulls it off. And New Year's resolutions tend to, I don't know what the percentage is, you can Google it, it's high. Um, Last time I recall, somewhere between 80 and 90% of them are gone, within a matter of weeks. It usually doesn't happen. And the reason for that is not because you made them. Now, there may be some things wrong with how you made them. And we'll talk about that in upcoming broadcasts as we get closer. But the reason they fail is that the structure of how to pull it off isn't in place. New Year's resolutions are totally doable. People do incredible things, but they don't do it just by making a commitment to do it. That's part of it. So we're going to get on into all that later on another program. But I have extensive stuff on there on boundaries.me, by the way. Go to boundaries.me plus to check out the holiday sale, which I talked about. But here's the deal. Here's what I want to talk about now, because we're getting towards the end of the year. And you don't have to do this all in one setting, but I want you to, before now and the end of the year, and you can kind of wander through this as you go through the holidays. I want you to look back at this year and do kind of a review or an audit. And you can even do this in preparation for Christmas, the holidays. How did last Christmas go? And use that to tell you how you want this one to be differently or go differently. But I want you to kind of be preparing for the New Year's, getting some sort of a some sort of a picture of where you are in those areas of life. Clinically, where am I? How am I feeling? How's my stress? How's my depression? How's my joy? How's my energy? And in the second area, how are my relationships? Which ones need improving? Which ones need to be built that I don't have? Which ones need maybe to go away or be altered in some way? And then thirdly, what about my goals and performance? Um, Review that. See where you came this year, where you didn't get where you wanted to get, analyze why. Now we're going to be talking more about how to get there. That'll help you. But just do an audit. Just do an audit. I can look back over the past year, and there's goals I have every year in those areas to really try to move the needle, in my health and how my relational world is organized and I'm doing, and then performance goals. And I can look back over the last year, and I can tell you, um, in some areas, great, did really well. I mean, we did it, right? But I look back, and also there's a couple of things in there that I didn't move the needle too much. And so in my review, what I'm looking at is, A, which goals are incompatible? You can't do that if you're going to try to do this. But also, which goals are in conflict? One pulls against the other. Which goals get you into relational issues that might not work? Um, and where was time and energy not allocated that needed to be allocated, got stolen by other stuff? So there's a lot of things to look back at when we are going to do that. Okay, let's give away a Boundaries.me Plus membership to somebody. I'm going to ask them, is it Boundaries.me / plus, or do you just go Boundaries.me and plus pops up? How do we do this, Greg? Boundaries.me / plus. Go to that site for you to get that huge savings on getting the whole, all the things involved in that, the 100 courses plus the seminars, the webinars, all of that. Okay. So let's look at these calls, and who's coming up first here? Okay. Well, there are two competing ones, because they both have a lot in them that can be applicable to a lot of people. You know what I'm going to do, just so it's not me who does it? I am going to, I don't have a coin to flip. I'm going to flip a pen. We do this on the first tee. We flip the tee, and whoever's it pointed at is your partner. I'm going to flip the pen here and see who gets this. All right. Except I dropped it. Hang on, I'll be back. Okay, I tell you we were learning. All right. Give me a little slack here. I also had to put the chair really high so the camera hits me in the eye. We will be working on our studio. Let's try this again. It came out of time. I'm gonna spin it. Okay, here we go. Now, I don't know if she already has Boundaries.me Plus, but we're going to find out. We are going to go to Betsy, who's calling us from Florida. And we got to ask Betsy when she gets on the air. Betsy, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, here's the question. Do you already have Boundaries.me Plus or Lifetime or anything?
Yes, I told my husband last night at dinner that one of my big life regrets is I didn't sign up for the lifetime when it was available. But I am paying annually for the plus.
Oh, so you have the Plus.
Yeah, I pay. Yes, I do pay for the plus annually. Like I said, I did not take advantage of the
Okay,
the
so
lifetime
I
when
I think I
yeah.
think I think you got the lifetime. Yeah, I think you just did. So
What?
I think you just did. I said first caller on the reboot of the show gets the lifetime boundaries.me that doesn't exist anymore. Now it's been
Oh
replaced by
my God.
boundaries.me plus. So
I could
there's a
cry.
little extra Christmas money for you. And let's just say that your call, I'm going to read it as I have it here on the screen, but your call is a call. Sorry, you called because you want to help somebody else.
Yes,
And
sir.
so that got me a little bit. That's not why I picked it. I picked it because I spun the needle, right? But here's what it says. How can I help some friends that are going through marriage difficulties? How do I help the one that was maybe more of the culprit? Now, I love this call. First of all, I love calls that people want to deal with their own stuff as well. That's primarily what we're oriented to, but you've called to help somebody else. And I love this call because so many of us find ourselves in that situation. Now, I'm going to start with you're trying to help some people going through some marriage difficulties. I'm going to start with a premise that I want everybody who's having marriage difficulties to remember, okay, before you go talk to people to help you. And I'm going to suggest everybody who's helping people with marriage difficulties to remember. And the premise is this, that when you are helping, okay, the client, if you will, the one that you are helping is the marriage. Okay, if that's your goal, you want to help with this marriage, then you have to avoid one of the biggest flaws that people make all the time. And it actually, I think, causes more marriages to fail than that person actually helps. Recently had one close to me that she was talking to somebody who was siding with her. And what I mean, I don't mean, you can empathize with somebody, understand their pain, help them with their pain, all of that. But the wife was feeling kind of persecuted by the bad husband. And then where you got a persecutor and a victim, she's kind of being victimized. And then the helper comes in to be a rescuer, and they just side with everything, which listen, I'm not anti-victim here. I want to help victims. And as anybody knows me, you know that. But at the same time, there are ways to do that you just kind of join the army against the other person, which actually can divide and split the marriage. That's what affairs do. So the biggest principle is that yes, you want to help the wife, or yes, you want to help the husband, but you want to help them to help the marriage. And realize sometimes it's not possible, and sometimes somebody's getting brutally abused or something like that. That's a different scenario. But just keep in mind, what's the highest goal here? Keep the end in mind, as Stephen Covey said. Begin with the end in mind. So that's where I would start. And I'll get into some particulars, but Betsy, tell me a little bit about the situation.
Okay. Well, they have more than 20 years of an enabler, and the one who took advantage of the enabling, obviously unknowing. My husband and I do some inner healing ministry with our church. So this is how this started. So we've ministered to both of them, and we've got their life history and where all the pain and junk came from. We're working with them slowly to help heal those things. The wife being a little bit more aware, a little bit more able to respond to God's leading, and being the enabler, the strong one, and the controller. So she's
Now,
working on
so
releasing
when
her
you said
control.
be a little more aware, you mean to help her become more aware of her enabling patterns, her lack of boundaries, her taking responsibility for him and his issues, setting better limits, stuff like that?
She recognized that, and that's really not in good boundaries terms, because she hasn't read your book yet. But she recognized that this wasn't working, and she wasn't going to keep spinning all the plates anymore. So that's where things hit a wall, and it took a few months for his eyes to open, or to begin to open. So his eyes are more open now. It's easier for him to be seen as a bad guy. I don't like using that term because I don't see him as the bad guy, obviously.
Well, it's not the bad
So
guy, but
really
let's
my
say
concern,
if we're keeping score, he's doing more bad things. Is that fair?
yes, in the direct way, as well as the stereotypical disconnected husband,
Okay, great.
father.
All right. So,
Um,
and we
my
got to make this.
question,
Okay, go ahead. Your question is what?
um, helping her eyes be more open to what has happened in her heart, because it's so easy to see what has happened with him.
What has happened in her heart as a result of being with him, or just in life, or what?
Yeah, there's, I believe, a callousness, and so it's hard to see her side, for her to see her side.
A callousness?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
That I'm done saying.
all right. So you're trying to get her to see how she's kind of hardened her heart and closed it off to her husband?
Yes.
Okay. Now, here is a big diagnostic question. You know, somebody's heart gets hardened for various reasons. You know, one of my favorite verses in Proverbs, it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. If you keep having a longing for connection or a longing for this or a longing for that, you know, it's like a baby that keeps crying and nobody listens or hears them or picks them up, then they shut down and they become detached. That's a callous heart, if you will. It's not like some sort of, I'm going to make a decision to be a hardened person. It's a wilting from hope deferred. So she's probably got some of that. She probably also, reading
Yes.
between the lines, she's probably also got a hardened heart as a protective shield from hurt that he inflicts on her, correct or not?
Um, uh, Definitely survival of being the only one handling the emotional needs and some of the other needs of the family.
Okay, so no direct infliction of pain. It's just she's burned out taking care of this little boy's responsibilities.
That plus uh, some uh, some verbal abuse, but that was both ways.
Okay. Well, verbal abuse will do it if there's enough and it's long enough. So I would start to talk to her about um, the grief of what she's missed, what she's longed for, what she wants, what she's not getting, all of that. That's one category. The hardening of the heart, I think she's got to express the pain of all of that stuff that's been inflicted on her in the shield of his quote, you know, his bad stuff. But here's the big diagnostic question. You can't start to soften a heart if it's continuously being hurt. Okay? If I'm in a boxing match, all right, and I've got, you know, a tender jaw or whatever, I'm getting punched and all that, you know, it I got to have that heal. They got to put ice on it and they got to do a bunch of stuff. But I can't do that till the fight's over because I'm getting punched in the next round. And so it's hard to be vulnerable while you're still getting hurt. is what I'm saying. So I like it that you're talking to her about what are some areas where she may be able to be vulnerable and open up, but without making herself open to abuse or disappointing, this and the other. And that's where the clear boundaries have got to come into place. So I would suggest, you've got a boundaries.me membership on here. Go in there and look at, there's tons of little video courses on doing exactly this, dealing with toxic people, enabling all of that. I would sit down and sit down, literally go through those videos with her. I think it would give her great things to work on. Now, the second part of any kind of boundary setting, and then I'll get to the next issue, is that I've never seen anybody really be able to fully, completely, wonderfully, maturely, lovingly, and firmly, protectively, and awesomely set boundaries in a vacuum. She's got to have support doing this. Now you're there, and that's incredible. I would want her maybe to get in a group with some other women who are learning to set boundaries in the same way. That's what a good boundaries group does, or a good codependency group, or Al-Anon, or there's a million of them. But I think she needs some journeyers with her that they're all learning together. And then the third thing is, I think that there's got to be practice doing that. She's got to step up and do it. So make her aware of what she's got to do. Get her some support, get her some models, but also some specific activities of how to do that. Now, I would try to, if they're trying to work it out, I would segment those areas and say, look, I can't go into these areas with you. I can't enable this. I can't enable this, but I would like to go on a walk with you. I would like to do these things with you because that's kind of safe ground over here. If that's large enough in the picture, if they're ready for that. Secondly, he's part of this picture. So, do you talk to him?
Yeah, yes. And my husband we work with him, and my husband is working with him a lot. And there was some
Can you guys
foundational
clone
work
yourselves? Can y'all clone yourselves and send yourselves all over the country?
I appreciate that. God has done an amazing work in us, and we want to help others.
One of my favorite verses, the comfort with which we have been comforted by God, we comfort others. But I wish more couples would get into the marriage mentoring and healing helpfulness with others. But you guys are meeting with him. How much ownership does he have in taking responsibility for all this stuff?
He has taken ownership. We've had a long way to go with his understanding because of his childhood abuse.
Yeah.
But he is making progress, and we have been working with his relationship with God first, because as I learned in my marriage, if my husband didn't know how much God loved him, there was no way he could love me the way he needed to.
Correct. And also for him to experience God's love through some other men and people around him expressing that love. And that's right out of the Bible. 1 Peter 4 says that when we love one another and use our gifts with each other, we are administering the grace of God to them. And it says, speak as if you're speaking the very words of God. So when other people come around this man and love him in the way that he was never loved, that's going to strengthen his reservoir also.
Yes, and that is happening. We have a very strong men's group, and they love each other, accept each other, and
great. Okay, well,
hold back.
In regard to him, I would try to make it actionable for him. You can get it from her. If you go on boundaries.me and look at the video on trust, it will start with, we trust somebody when we feel understood. I would want to get them together and just have her talk about, these are the few things that I really need for you to understand that hurt me and also that make me get close to you. And see if he can really hear that and understand it. And then I would make those things actionable. A lot of times I heard a woman one night in a seminar say, well, my boyfriend, I want to feel more connected. And I said, great, that's a good goal. What did you tell him? She said, well, I told him I want to connect more. I want to feel more connected. And I said, you said that to a guy? Really? How did that work? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, what does he do? I mean, he's got to get up in the morning and do something to make you feel that way. So how about at the end of the day, right after dinner, how about we go on a 30-minute walk and just kind of talk about our day? That would make you feel more connected, or talk about your dreams, or, whatever it is. But you got to give him some actionable behaviors that she has actually said, these are the things that are going to help me. Betsy, I wish I could talk more. I hope that some of that's helpful. I would suggest my book called Trust. It outlines all of this in very, very, very practical, how to take steps way, as well as how to repair broken trust, which gets to that callousness thing. So I'm going to have to run, but I want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being the first caller on the reboot of the Dr.
I'm
Klaus.
so excited.
It's going to be fun. See, there's some extra Christmas money that you were going to re-up, right? You said you were. There's something.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I want you and your husband to take a portion of that savings, and y'all go out on a great, beautiful, romantic dinner to celebrate everything, but especially you're helping other people. So we thank you for your call. Let's go to talking about helping other people. Here we go. Carol, who's calling us from Texas, another problem that many, many, many people can identify with. How do we stop financially helping our adult daughter? Is there a healthy and a safe way to do it? Carol, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Where are you calling from in Texas, unless you don't want to say?
Abilene.
Abilene. There's a song.
Yes.
Abilene.
Yeah.
So tell me how I can help you.
Well, I'm just, as Christian parents of an adult daughter who is very bright and
by the way,
works.
Can I interrupt you for a second, Carol? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for using the proper term, an adult daughter. Sometimes people say, I've got an adult child. Well, which one do you have? There's no such thing as two. If they're an adult and they're a child, which means you're still parenting them, then they are still a child. And that's probably why at age 43, you're getting childlike behavior out of them. So you got to make up your mind which one they are, but you've already done that. So keep going.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, we are, really struggling. She actually lives, 250 miles away, and it's feels like there's a non-relationship in many ways. We try to, keep contact, but
what kind of relationship?
I feel like it's almost a non-relationship in a way. I mean, we try to keep connected. Yes. It's really been a lot of for us, heartbreaking. She has a boyfriend that she went and moved away with, and
how old is she?
She's 38.
Oh.
And
so she's had some practices at being an adult.
Oh yeah, has handled her life well until she's been with this person who, I don't know, it's just like we've watched her, kind of what we feel like is like lowering her life standards.
She's handled her life well. She's been out of the house for close to 20 years, 18, 20 years. Did she have a job in her life? Has she had a career? Has she paid her bills?
Well, she did until she managed a boutique, and it was kind of a touristy area down in South Texas, and
I'm sorry, you
she
went out of
lost
me.
that job.
Say that she had a job.
She yes, she was a manager, managed a boutique store in South Texas for 5 years and almost 6 years, and then a new owner came in, and things went really bad. And as they sometimes do, she wanted to. I mean, I could see it from the things she was telling me. I kept telling her she needed to get another job, and she just kept hanging back, and it ended really badly, and she was fired. And so it kind of put her in this extreme depression, sitting on the couch, and then, you know, I mean, I felt like my husband and I didn't know any other words to say to her, that I was trying to encourage her that, you know, you're a smart person, you have a college degree, there's so many things that she did to get them through COVID, and, you know, it was a lot of things, but,
I'm sorry,
the bottom line was,
it was a little garbled when before get through COVID, she or you did what?
we just said a lot of things to try to be as encouraging and say words to uplift her, and, you know, affirmations of the things that she did.
So she did well
in the job.
The history,
but,
right? She did well up until 33, and 5 years ago she lost this job. No, you said she worked for 5.
No, this is just a year. It's just been 1 year.
Oh, okay.
And
So she has a long history of high functioning till now.
Yes.
All right.
But, you know, but she's with someone that has never worked, which she does not have. She has a dad who's a very, you know, modeled exact opposite. You know, really worked hard, and so it's been very hard for us to understand. And like I said, I think there's maybe some addictions that have developed in there. I don't know if it's her or him, or some mental issues.
All right. So what is the question?
You know, I'm just trying to, the issue that has, you know, as her parents, we are, you know, she was brought up in a Christian home, and, you know, at this point, she's been asking us for money every month to help pay their bills. He did get a job for a very short period of time. There's always something that happens. And so now he's not able to work again. Probably got 3 paychecks. And he's very enabled by his mother. She has paid for everything for him. And so you know, my husband's been telling her, you know, I'm retiring, and I've been using money that I got for a supplement for retirement that's about gone, kind of leading up to, you know, this is going to have to stop. And so it's hard for us to cut off our kid that, you know, is in need, but at the same time, I don't know that she's trying very hard to get a job. And she says she is, but, you know, this is the hard part. I just don't know how to.
Yeah. Okay. So
how do you do this? What is the best way to tell your kid, you know, you can get up and get a job? Like, you can't not, like, go to Target or
well, wait a minute, hold
to a
on.
restaurant and be a hostess.
You slipped. You regressed on me. You said, how do you tell your kid?
Okay.
Now, how do you tell?
Yeah.
How do you tell this 38-year-old? She's not sometimes. A child. She's 38. She's married, right? She's married.
She's not married. They're not married.
Oh, I thought you said that she married him. Okay. All right. Okay.
They've been living together all the time.
So look, I go into the doctor, all right? I go and I walk in, I start banging my head up against the wall. And I go, doctor. He says, why are you here? I said, I got a headache. My head hurts. What's the doctor going to say?
Go to the doctor.
He's going to say, stop banging.
Say that again.
He's not going to treat my headache as long as I'm banging my head up against the wall. If you got a fire,
right?
If you have your kitchen skillet catches on fire, you can put out the fire unless you know, your kid's squirting lighter fluid onto the fire while you're trying to put it out. Okay. So you're trying to fill up a tank that's got leaks, meaning you're giving her money, but it's leaking out all over the place through all of this extended family dysfunction, which is enabling him, which is probably helping to keep him not have to, you know, do whatever he's got to do, which is having her also not really have to lean into what she's got to do to turn this relationship around, if that's possible, because you kind of keep giving her aspirin while she's still banging her head up against the wall. We got to help her stop the leak. We got to help her stop, you know, the part that she's enabling him.
Mhm.
Just continuing to pour money on this is not going to do it.
Mhm.
Follow me? So what I would do is I would sit down with her and say, look, you're asking for money. Okay. Our money is limited, A. We may can help a little more, we may not, but let's set that aside for a second. When we give money to needs in order that they might be resolved and get better. Okay. You invest in something
Right.
so that it grows. All right. Whatever you invest in, you're going to get
Mhm.
more of. Right now, we're investing in something and it's growing. We're investing in ongoing problems, and the problems are growing or not ending. We want to look at stopping the headbanging, stopping the lighter fluid, whatever you call the ongoing issues that are causing this. So we may be open to giving you some money or not, depending on what we can. But what I can do, what we will do is, if and to the degree we help you, and most of the help we give you may be just advice or use of some of our networks and getting in touch with people maybe, but we're going to add some structure to this. Like if I give you money, it's going to have some conditions to it. Okay.
Mhm.
And I would sit
Yeah.
down and I would want to plan. Say, look, for us to help in any way, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to I'm going to pay for you to go to, or you and him to go to a good marriage counselor that's going to help stop this enabling and stop this irresponsible behavior and stop this lack of boundaries. Because I'm not going to continue to give,
Mhm.
I'm not going to continue to give to that. Okay. Because it's not going to help. So I might invest in that.
Mhm.
The other thing I would do is I'd call a local church down there and send them to a Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University and make that a condition where they got to sit down and they're going to have a counselor and a group to help them. And they got to say, no, we don't just want money. We want to get better. We want to grow.
Yeah.
And then you could also have whatever conditions you think are applicable in terms of saying, you know, we'll be willing to help this amount of time, but only if you show me you've had 10 job interviews that week or whatever. See, we got to
Yeah.
look, when businesses get large sums of money from investors, there's covenants. They don't just give them money. We have to meet these conditions throughout the deal, or the loan gets called. The money's over. When a bank does that,
Mhm.
when God does that, he says, I'll give one of you 5, one of you 2, one of you 1 in the parable of the talents. And you did well with that, I'm going to give you 5 more. Keep investing in you. You did that with it, I'll give you 2 more. What did you do with yours? Well, I just held on to it and buried it in the ground. Well, you're not getting any more. In fact, we're going to take that away from you and invest it in somewhere where they're using it. So that's the general principle that I would think about. And I'd probably go sit down with a good counselor, maybe you and your husband, to help you think about how to communicate that and structure it. I'd like to talk longer. We got to go, but Carol, I hope that
Okay.
I hope that helps you. You basically got to add structure to your giving. Okay. So
Right.
thank you for your call.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful. I appreciate
Great. So I'm going to say a little bit about that. Gosh, how the time flies. Ah. Oh, there's so many callers up here I'd like to talk to. We'll stay on for a few minutes. Let me look at these. Okay, but I want to say something um about that call, and I was going to say something when I looked at the other calls, then I forgot what it was. Give me a second here. Oh, I know what it was. So I said you got to add some structure to your giving. Okay. There is a truth that is a misconception also. Here's the truth. Real love is unconditional. Okay? You want to have unconditional love. I'm going to love you no matter what you do, how you show up, all of that. But here's where it's a misconception. There is no such thing as unconditional love that can flourish without expectations. It can even be unusable because love is unconditional, but it also has expectations. You know, from a faith perspective, the way God talks about this, he says he is a God of love and righteousness, which basically means loving in the right way. Most of God's principles are about how to love in the right way. That otherwise you're talking about some goofy religion and not the faith of the Bible, which is all about love. Jesus said all these rules and everything come down to the law of love. So what we're talking about is when you're loving, she's loving a daughter. This daughter is loving her live-in boyfriend, but there are no expectations or boundaries or requirements of how to make that love usable. God loves the whole world, and he has requirements. He says, look, say you're sorry and come into a relationship with me and follow me. And when we do that, we realize that love. It flourishes. Our life grows and changes. There's a lot of people, God's love is unconditional. It never flourishes because the expectation side of it, and I don't mean performance to get the love. I mean performance to make the love work, to be in a relationship. If you have a marriage where there's no expectations, then good luck with that. That's why you make vows. Vows are a trading of here's the expectations that you can have of me. I will promise to be faithful. I will promise to do this. I will promise to do that. And the other one says the same thing. They unconditionally love each other, but the structure of how the love is going to function is kind of the map of how the love is going to get from where it is today to where it wants to go, which is to be bigger, deeper, lighter, wider, stronger, instead of disease, hurting, ailing, and all of that. So when you are giving, it becomes enabling if it's not being responsibly used on the other side. So you can also make the case, as we know in a lot of addiction cycles, that when somebody loves somebody and keeps enabling without boundaries and limits, they're actually, think of the word enable. I am making it able for this problem to continue. That's not really loving. If we don't have boundaries with our kids, we are enabling them to grow up to be people nobody wants to be around, or hire, or marry, or even live inside their own skin. So love is unconditional, but unconditional love has a structure on how it's supposed to work. How it's supposed to work. You get a couple that unconditionally is smitten with each other, but one of them's defensive and unplugs and is critical and all the things that Gottman's research shows will destroy a marriage. That unconditional love gets poisoned because of the absence of people living up to certain expectations. So, and when somebody tries to play that, well, you don't love me. If you did, you would give me this. No, I won't give you that. Actually, because I love you and I want something better for you than continuing in that. Okay, let's take, let me see where we are here. Let's go to Colleen in Wisconsin. Colleen has joined Al-Anon. Oh, I love this question. Needs help reconciling that she's going to a quote secular program for help. How can I be? I think you might mean Al-Anon is secular, which I want to talk about. How can I be less black and white in my thinking? Colleen, welcome to the Dr. Cloud Show.
Hey, thanks so much. You're getting better with time, I'll tell you. Thank you.
Well, I don't know what you mean by
Your
that,
advice.
but I know, I mean, I
Oh,
can't
you're
ever get much worse. So it's not a high bar, right? So what do you mean?
I've been listening to you for years and you just get better. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, you're very kind.
Yeah.
Had a long
Oh,
way to go.
Yeah. Did you say, what do I mean by that? No, your advice just keeps getting more important, more valuable. It's broader and deeper, and it hits home even more every time I listen to you. So thanks.
Well, you're very kind. You know what? I was thinking about this the other day. Somebody's asked me about, I wrote my first book. I mean, I was a child. I was in my 20s. And they were talking about, thinking about this the other day. I said, well, do you disagree with anything you wrote back then? And I thought about that book and I thought about everything that's in it. And here was my thought. I don't think so. Because I've always had, I don't sit and I don't go research a topic and write a book about it. I work on things for a long time. And what I learn in that, I write. So I already kind of know they're tested, right? But here's what I did say, which may be what you're referring to. No, I don't think I would change anything that I disagree where I think up is down now. But I would say it a lot better than I said it back then. Because the more miles we get on us, the better we learn how to drive, right? So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad it's better.
That is so true. So true. Oh, yeah. I hear you.
So talk to me.
I hear you. Mm-hmm.
Secular program. Oh, no.
Well, I know. I kind of feel like a church failure, like a lot of my friends, encourage me to spend time with the Lord. That's all I hear is spend time with God. And I'm not saying I don't want to like rip on them. They're not, to help me.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Spend time with the Lord to what end? Well, why they're telling you that everybody ought to spend time.
To hear from him, for him to give me advice in, like intellect, like in,
what's the problem?
Coping with issues. I tend to control people. I have trouble controlling.
Okay, so you've already heard.
I have a tendency to try to control people.
So you've already heard that.
It's a problem.
What's the secular program? I don't get it. What is the secular program part of this?
Oh,
it sounds like the best.
That's
thing,
Al-Anon
and control people. Sounds like the best thing would be for those people to go listen to the guy because he tell them to go back to you and say, no, you're not going to control me anymore. So,
that's funny. That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that.
What is the secular question?
The question is, what I need advice on is how to turn off the voice in my head that says I'm betraying God by going and getting a lot of help with Alan. In my case, it's 12-step program, and I'm benefiting from it because there's so much accountability. But in doing so, I feel like I'm turning my back on the help that's afforded to me through church.
Oh, brother. Don't get me started. I needed to end the show, and now you've kind of hit a hot button for me. Now,
I know, I
look,
know.
we got to go fast. So I want you to give me real quick three to
Okay.
five, three to five
Yeah.
things. You said I'm getting so much help from it
Mhm.
because the accountability one. Give me two or three more things that are helping.
Mhm. The warmth in the fellowship.
The warmth, the support, the grace, your acceptance
Mhm.
you're feeling there,
Yep.
the lack of
Yeah.
shame
The love. Yeah.
that you get over, the
Mhm.
love, the
Mhm.
fellowship, the connection. What else?
Yep. The practical tips in the literature. Don't do one thing for someone without getting praised for it. Do it anonymously. That's the principles, the morality. Believe it or not.
Okay,
There's a bookmark called Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. So
And
the
you're
behavioral
feeling bad.
stuff.
You're
Yep.
feeling bad because you're going to
Yep.
a quote secular program and not the church.
Yeah. I just feel like it doesn't have the stamp of approval.
Okay.
It doesn't feel like.
Just, I
Yeah.
get it.
I don't
I get
know.
it. I get
Higher
it.
power, higher power. It's like I'm kind
Yeah.
of a purist when it comes to like the way I approach my faith.
I don't know
I
if
tend to
you're
think kind
I
of
don't know if
like,
you're a purist, if you're that voice is not a purist. That voice is a religion voice.
okay,
A
how do I get rid of
pure,
that?
a pure voice is a
Uh-huh.
voice that resonates with the truth of God. Okay.
Oh, damn.
Now,
Okay.
if I go to a church and somebody tells me, to get over this addiction or get over this problem, you just need just to spend time with God, or you need to hear from God. And they mean that, and all I got to do is pray or read my Bible. Look, I can't read my Bible for very long before it tells me to put your Bible down and go do what it just said do.
Right. That is
Okay,
so
stop. Just
true. I've been
exactly.
trying
So
to think you. Okay, go ahead.
just stop for a second. Jesus said, "He who hears
Mhm.
these words of mine and I'm gonna go to the end of the story." He said, "It's like you build your house on a rock. You're like the wise person built your house on the rock and not sand." And people say, "I'm building my house on the rock. I'm building my house on God. I'm building my house on Jesus." And they say, "Just connect him, connect him, connect." That's not what the passage says. Of course, that's part of it because the book says do that. But he says, "He who hears my teachings and puts them into practice will be like the person who built his house on the rock, and the winds and the storms and the rains came and they didn't get blown away." All right. So you just told me
Mhm. Mhm.
something that's not true in one sense. You said you're going to a secular program, but it's really helping. Al Anon. First of all, Al Anon
Mhm.
and the 12 steps are not a secular program. The 12 steps came from the scriptures, primarily the book of James and the Beatitudes, as well as a lot of other biblical
Mhm.
principles. So here's what you tell me.
Mhm.
There's support. What does the Bible say? Help those who are weak, comfort those who are brokenhearted,
Mhm.
heal the brokenhearted, weep with those who weep, strengthen the arms that are feeble and the knees that are weak, make level paths for your feet so that those limbs might be strengthened instead of rather broken further. Okay, you just gave me in a little list 100 Bible verses. And you're calling this a secular program, and your church is shaming you for doing that. You are in a place where God's ways, and very specifically, this isn't just like, there's secular psychology that teaches the principles of God without the verses. Hey, it came from the verses.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and it also says higher power as you understand him or it or her or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Who's your higher power?
God,
What's his name?
Jesus.
So how in the world are you in a secular program?
Hmm. I Because I think that when they broke off from the original biblical fellowship, or
Wait.
church fellowship.
When your local group,
Yeah, when the fellowship of AA broke off from the Oxford groups, they did it because there was too much evangelism. And I feel like floating in the air is a spiritual war that I am now on the other side of. Like, I'm on the enemy's side,
oh
like,
my
it's not, well, that's why I use the word spirit, because
look.
I know
Okay.
it's my brain.
A lot of
Yeah.
people tune in this show and they didn't call in to hear me preach or talk about the Bible all the time. But look, you just said I'm on the enemy side. Okay, the Bible says specifically, test the spirits, and the one who says that Jesus has come in the flesh, he's the Son of God, that spirit is from God. I don't think you're over on the enemy side. Okay.
Okay.
So if you're in a good Al-Anon group and it's helping you, and you're growing and nobody's doing anything in there that's against God's ways, God bless you and continue on the path. Okay.
Okay.
I love your call.
Okay.
But
Dr. Claude.
oh, he wrote.
Oh, thank
a
you.
lot of
And can I
books.
just add one quick thing? Or
I
no?
don't know, can you?
Am I done?
Well, I don't know if you can
Yes.
or not. You asked. I don't know if you can. Can you make it quick?
I just have a really quick question that stops me in the group. Is they say no mention of religion. Is that still sound okay to you? That's like part of the protocol. Is we're not allowed to mention
I don't know what they mean by
religion.
that. I mean, you can mention God,
It trips
right?
me up, Yeah.
But you can mention
Yeah,
God.
you can. Yeah, yeah.
It says in what's the third step, whatever. Yeah. Which step is it? You're going to yield. You're going to yield to Him, right? To your higher power.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so you can say all of that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Yeah.
So what can't you say?
Yeah. I guess I can't say, well, in my faith, evangelism is like, I just can't talk about things. I don't know. I guess that's part of the script. I don't know. So that's the one thing that also kind of tripped me up. My red flag went up when I heard that. So, but religion could be anything. I don't know.
If they ever tell you to deny Jesus or to do anything anti-scriptural, there are a lot of evangelism groups that work with people for a long time before they get very deep into talking about, quote, religious stuff. And I don't even like that word anyway. The Bible is not, it's not really a religious book. Religion replaced relationship with God. When mankind was created, there was no religion. There wasn't. There was a relationship that made us whole and complete. When we lost a relationship, what came and replaced it? The law, all the rules, the principles. Now you got to live up to these to be good enough, right? And the Bible itself said that was powerless and useless to make you better. It was only given to you, or it was given to you, obviously to show you the way to live, but it was given to you to instruct you that it doesn't work. That's what the book says.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I don't want to talk about religion if I'm trying to mourn the grief of somebody in my life. Anyway, got to go. You got me on it. I told you I was worried about a short.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you for your
It's a great job, though. Thanks. Okay.
Thank you for your call.
Thanks. Bye.
It's one of the reasons I love this show, because the callers, as you can see, I mean, we just have great people that join this tribe, and I always enjoy being with you. One of the places that I really enjoy is when we have our live webinars. Now, if you will send us your email address, I think this is right, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, then you'll get our mailings that tell you about the live webinars. It's sort of like a seminar you can sit down at home and put it on your iPad or your big screen or your phone or whatever it is. And we do one about every 6 or 8 weeks. That's one of the fun things, because this tribe and get to talk to them in Q&A and all that's really cool. And then the boundaries.me family. I was just I was in the airport last night in Atlanta, and I ran into a speaker. I won't mention his name, you would know him, who I ran into in a different airport like 2 months ago. And I ran into at a different event in another city like 2 months before that. And we were laughing. It's like, we have this airport relationship. And then and this is a guy that writes books and speaks everywhere. And he says, I listen to you every day. I go, where? He said, oh, on the little one thing. And I said, you're kidding me. I go, every day? He goes, yeah, I take my walk and I listen to it. I said, that makes me laugh because if you're a boundaries.me subscriber, one of the things that you get is every morning I send you a video that's about 3 minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes long of one thing I want you to do that day, just one thing. And he said it structures him to think about growth. But what made me smile about it was they're so casual. Who knows where I'll be when I record it. But what struck me about it is the people that tell me this. I love the people that tell me this because I love to be surrounded by people that are into getting better and into making life better. If you're single out there and you're dating, how's this for a question for whoever you're on a date with? So what kind of growth experiences have you pursued in the last couple of years or in your life? What's made you grow the most? And just be quiet and see if they say, oh, um, well, I eat my vegetables, so I've grown an inch. That's not what we're looking for. Oh, I go to the gym, so I've grown some muscles. You want to see? That's not exactly what we're looking for. How about if they've got a great mentor or coach in their life or a small group they're in or a group that gets together and goes through a book together or they have a regular reading program or a podcast that they listen to. Nothing that's truly alive is not growing. If we're stagnant, a death cycle has started to sit in. We got to turn that around. You can turn it around. Your leaves start to wilt. You can water it, put it back in the sun. It's going to come back to life unless it goes too far. But if you're still breathing, you still got life in you. So I love the tribe of boundaries.me and this program. And I don't know when we will do the next one, but watch your email. Give us your email address. Go to boundaries.me. And Greg, I think I'm correct in saying this. Please, somebody talk back to me on the other end. I'm pretty sure if you go there and give us your email address, that will get you just on the email list and you'll hear about all this stuff as it appears. And if you take advantage of the boundaries.me plus membership that we're doing right now, it is currently, now get this, boundaries.me is like the whole big thing. It's got all sorts of stuff on it. It's got a lot of webinars, a lot of 2-hour webinars that are pay-per-view that big value to. It's got over 100 short courses. The regular price for boundaries.me, which is all of that stuff, is $600. Right now in this sale, you can get it for $249, which is just a holiday special. Good gift to give somebody. All right. I think we are out of time. Well, I just got a message here from our team. Yeah, that's what we need. Okay. We'll be back, but give us your email address. Follow us on Dr. Henry Cloud Official on Instagram, and we're on Facebook and Twitter, and kind of around. Okay. This was really fun. Thank you guys for joining in. Let us hear your feedback and comments. You go to info@boundaries.me, I think. Is that right, Greg? I think that's right. Info. Oh, Here we go. info@drcloudteam.com. I'll answer your questions. All right, guys. Thanks for putting up with our reboot here where we're just kind of on the fly. Perfect is the enemy of the good. We can't do it perfectly today, but we said we could do something. It's going to be okay. And appreciate your putting up with my foibles today. Love you guys.